Market participants are still expecting that the Federal Reserve will take a more aggressive approach to its monetary policy. Traders have been pricing in a rise of 50 basis points in the benchmark rate for 2 weeks in a row. Against this background, the US dollar index may consolidate and its a 2-year high. In addition, a surge in the US inflation to a 40-year high may force the Fed to raise the key interest rate several times. In our video review on InstaForex TV channel, we will find out what other events may affect traders' sentiment and try to predict further changes in the currency market. Recently, the Chinese epidemiological situation has been considered an important factor that forms the fundamental background for determining currency's future movements. The fact is that local authorities imposed a lockdown in Shanghai, a manufacturing, financial and logistics center of the country. As a result, investors became even more concerned about the prospects of the global economic recovery. On a Monday, investors are likely to be disappointed by the Chinese macroeconomic reports. The fact is that industrial production may significantly slow down. In March, the indicator inched up just by 2.8% on a yearly basis. It's an extremely poor performance for China. Against this background, the Australian dollar may lose value. Notably, Australia is China's main supplier of raw materials. Industrial production accounts for a better part of the China's GDP. The fact is that under the current restrictions caused by the virus spread, the country's services sector has slumped also. That's why in the first quarter, China's GDP is expected to fall to 3.6% from 4% on a yearly basis. This news may force traders to avoid risk assets, and in this case, the yen will have a chance to recoup some of its losses. On Tuesday, the Australian dollar may somehow recover amid the Reserve Bank of Australia meeting results. During the meeting, the regulator admitted the necessity of the key interest rate hike and unveiled some conditions for such an action. At the moment, the regulator will hardly raise the benchmark rate because of the upcoming election. However, the fact that the Reserve Bank of Australia emphasized the necessity of tougher measures may boost the Australian dollar. During the US trade market, participants will receive positive information from the United States. The US is going to disclose its March data on building permits and housing starts. Both indicators unveil the prospects of economic development as they reflect consumer demand as well as the situation with the supply chains, logistics and the labor force. Judging by the forecast, the indicator will remain at quite high levels. Against the backdrop, the US assets may show a significant rise. And on Wednesday, all eyes will be turned to Canada's inflation figures. According to the forecast, consumer prices will continue surging at a high pace since the key interest rate hike has not produced any results yet. However, the movement of the Canadian dollar correlates with the oil prices, and thus oil quotes are likely to jump higher amid the decisions of a ban of Russian energy resources, and that's why the Canadian dollar may gain in value against the greenback. You have watched the Forex Trader Calendar on InstaForex TV channel with me, Kate Tikhina. We wish you profitable trading with InstaForex.